in 4 weeks, we'll be in a car driving to Camp Crystal Lake to spend the night on Friday the 13th, right?
But I've got to drive.
Yeah, I'm not driving.
I don't know how to
Out of New
park.
York.
I don't ask me to park at Camp Crystal Lake, but I will drive to it. Okay.
That's the thing. The scariest part of the trip for me is driving out of Manhattan.
Yeah.
But that's on you, though. To prepare, we're going into space.
All right, Danielle.
Right, I've written. This is probably the longest summary I've written.
What's happening in Jason X?
Okay. Jason has been captured and being held in a top secret research facility. After failed attempts to execute him, government scientists decide to cryogenically suspend him, while others desire to study his regenerative properties. Anyway, Jason gets frozen and is thawed out in the year 2455 and does what he does best, but this time all aboard a spaceship.
We're so far away from Jason running around Camp Crystal Lake just killing people for shagging.
He can't even run anymore. There is a lot of shagging in this.
Yeah, it is, to be fair, yeah.
And it's nice to know that in the future,
people are still shagging.
people are really horny.
Yeah, that's true.
And are they also more sexually liberated?
Very true.
There's a lot of nipple pincing
Yes, there's a lot of that.
of teachers.
Yeah.
Right, back to basics. This should be more fun than it is, I think.
Yeah, it is fun in some bits, but I think the presentation of it, I don't click with it at all.
So what I said, what I've written in my notes, I think the scariest thing about this film is its production design.
Yeah.
It's
Ugly.
abysmal.
It's ugly,
abysmal. And in my head, it feels, because this comes out in 2003, but I think it was shelved for 2 years.
Right.
So I think it was meant to come out in like 2001 or so. It was basically shelved for 18 months.
Right.
It really reminds me of a lot of the shows of the time, but like a cheaper version, like Farscape or Andromeda.
SG-1.
Remember Andromeda?
Yeah, I remember the adverts for it.
But I never watched it.
It's like Kevin Sorbo.
It's Kevin Sorbo, who was Hercules in the New Adventures of Hercules. But also it stars two people from this.
That's it.
Lexa Doig, who plays, oh God, the names are terrifying as well, who plays Rowan LaFontaine.
Good.
That's a name from present day. That's not a future name. And also KM14, the android. Yeah. They both are series regulars in Andromeda for 5 or 6 years.
For ages, I wasn't sure if the android was an android. Because obviously, I've just been, we've been watching these films every week. So like, my mind isn't in android space. Like, so when you
say space,
yeah, I was like, why the fuck is that person talking like that? I was like, oh, it's not a robot, is it? Yeah, it's a fucking robot, mate. That's why.
It's the greatest role Mila Jovovich has never played.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like those Resi. Feels like the Resi.
There's something
films,
about the aesthetic of it, but what I think about it is everything is so fussy.
Yeah,
and nowhere is this clearer than the earpieces they have.
Yeah.
Why can't it just be an earpiece?
Yeah.
It has to be this like twisted bit of metal.
Yeah.
Everything is so ornate, and the UIs on every computer screen are just bonkers.
Yeah.
That in the future we've gone embellish everything.
Yeah. They obviously had a bunch of money.
Oh, I think this is the biggest budget so far.
So like
how does it connect?
Yeah, how does it connect?
So this is the thing.
Oh, there's something in this that I really want to talk about. Yeah.
It doesn't connect with the last film, because quite famously in the last film, Jason goes to hell.
Yeah.
And he gets pulled down by a bunch of monsters. We see their arms.
Yeah.
And then we've got the stinger of Freddy clawing it.
Yeah.
Now, this takes place, and it just has a very abrupt beginning where Jason's back and he's being contained in this research facility.
Crystal Lake Research.
So, I've got a question on that.
Yeah.
Presumably, they've had to build that there because it's a place that he keeps getting drawn back to.
Yeah.
it can't be just by chance there's also a secret research facility. They must have built that entire thing to be dedicated to studying Jason.
Is it like that's the place where he's the most chill? Like they built this somewhere else, but he was constantly trying to get out. Whereas they're like, oh, weirdly, every time we come out to Crystal Lake, he's just fucking chilling. So if we just build the research facility around him, he'll be a lot less of a pain in the ass.
I think in my head it's like if you want to study salmon shagging, you build your salmon shagging studying facility upstream.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you know he's always going to come back.
Yeah.
Now, so how does he get out of hell?
Yeah.
And I think this is resolved a little bit when we watch Freddy versus Jason next week.
Okay, right.
Because that takes place prior to this, I think.
Because that's the thing that I think
that's how we get him out of hell.
Yeah,
But the intro sequence is confusing.
The beginning bit where he's in the research facility. Mm-hmm. What year is that?
That is 2004, I believe.
Okay, right. Because
so a little bit further future than when it was shot.
Because at one point, I don't know who the guy is. He's like basically our Wayland Yutani boss that the guy keeps speaking to on like the video call.
Yeah.
At one point, that guy says Jason Voorhees killed nearly 200 people.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this just further forward? And Jason has escaped hell, has gone around killing, and this is another time where they've managed to catch him, and we just haven't seen that.
Because in the last talk show, they said 83, but to reach that 200 number, they could be including the graduating class boats of Crystal High and the crew of that ship, which we have speculated to be maybe 100 high school kids.
And then maybe that's the thing, is like maybe he did escape again from hell. They caught him in we haven't seen that. That's happened off screen. I don't know. But it's fucking mad that David Cronenberg is that.
I was watching
that scientist as well.
Because this shot in Canada,
right?
And Andromeda shot in Canada,
right?
So I think this is why a lot of these are Canadian actors.
Fuck me, man.
And he. The guy who was the director of this was like one of his assistants. They're all, and they used his effects company.
Yeah. Because I read as well that Cronenberg was rewriting. Think about something that Cronenberg said in this film. I can't tell you a single line, right, off the top of my head. Apparently, it was like even worse, and he had to rewrite all of his lines. He was like, none of this makes sense. You're like, Dave, May.
Some of the name, it's the line where it's like, I want him wet and fleshy or something.
You're like, Dave, look where you are, but like, he's like, oh, this doesn't make any sense.
Dave's just sleeping in Toronto. He's like, you doing body horror?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, they brought him back.
But I think he really wanted to do it because he wanted to die on screen.
Right.
So he insisted. He's like, I'll do it.
Good death.
And can I have a death scene?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not being killed on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does kind of throw you. I always think David Cronenberg looks a little bit like the Demon Headmaster.
Yeah, he does, yeah. It's a fascinating film. Like, I think I watched it for 25 minutes before taking a single note. I was just like...
enthralled.
I was just going, how? How does this happen?
It does feel like...
how we here?
It does... You know what it is?
I have no idea.
I think there is like probably a really good version of this.
Yeah, there is.
And they've done 8 of these films. They've done 9 actually. It feels like obviously the products of a brainstorm where it's like there's no bad ideas.
Yeah.
Say what you want, and it's just a super joke that I think someone chucked out there, and you're like, you know what? The execution is just terrible on this.
Yeah.
And I think tonally it's all over the show.
It just needs someone better at the reins, I think.
Yeah.
Going, that I know what we're making is mental. That is too mental.
But what if this looked like Event Horizon or Aliens?
Exactly. Yeah.
It was darker, scarier.
Why is it so light?
It has people wearing bright, colourful clothing.
Yeah.
All the colours everywhere. When they're scanning him, it's like a rainbow scanner.
Yeah.
It just... and the tone is bizarre because you also in this film establish that people can basically get chopped up and have their arms put back on.
Yeah.
Which... there's a comedy version of this that you could go really into where he's struggling to kill them.
Yeah,
because their technology is too good. They're restoring themselves.
Yeah.
But then, or you can go the darker, like space sci-fi Event Horizon look.
Yeah.
But they kind of don't do either of those
No,
things.
and I think like some bits, the reason I think it is quite fun to watch is, like when they're in like the holodeck, like, and Jason kills them in the holodeck. There's something fun about that, like and Jason is just because he
kills them twice.
Jason has no idea what the fuck is going on, right? Like when he's like hitting that sleeping bag with a girl, like he's confused. And I think there's more to be had, the more mileage to be had from that.
I've got questions about both those things.
Yeah.
Do we do them now or later?
Go on, might as well do them now.
So one of those is a video game,
Yeah.
and then the other one is a holodeck, right?
Yeah.
How is Jason participating in the video game world? Because
Yeah,
they're
I
using
dunno.
controllers.
Yeah, unless it was like... Yeah,
I know
I
this
don't
is
know.
really pernickety.
Yeah, no,
They're sat on the floor,
and they've got little
it's
things
very
on.
Red Dwarf, because it's like
Yeah.
they're playing Gunmen of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because they're on the floor with like a little ball and a headset, and
Yeah.
they're in the game world, and that's what they're seeing.
And Jason
but it does
comes
feel like
into
it's
that.
projected. But
Yeah.
Jason's walking along as monsters.
Yeah, because they're not running around that thing.
No, they're sat down like cross-legged.
That's a bit annoying, that is, yeah.
And then later
That's a fuck
on,
up. That's a fuck up.
I want to say, do more with the holodeck.
Yeah.
In a world, you take him back through different versions of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a big self-referential thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're studying him by running these simulations for him, and then he breaks out.
Yeah, I'm a bit...
Bring back some of the old actors and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Well, apparently, the lady who played Pam was round the corner, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they tried to get her.
Just couldn't get her in, apparently.
Because also...
Because she'd have been like, double it.
I need a new
Double it.
Betsy needs a new car.
Yeah.
The holodeck, because, again, reminds me of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Those are hard light holograms, because you can pick them up.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a version of hologram there.
Where it's just like your hand goes through it,
Like
aye.
Grimmer, do you remember when Legion
Yeah.
creates the hard light projection?
Oh, so
he can,
yeah.
like, be hit and he can interact with stuff.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because then do more of that.
But then that could be a funny comedy bit where
Yeah.
Jason just can't kill a hologram.
Yeah. And he's just getting freaked out. Because he's not fazed by the fact that he's in space, is he, really?
Does he even know what that is?
I don't know. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Is like I feel like more things that we watch should cook his brains. Like seeing a giant hockey mask in New York City. New York City.
Does he think that's him?
I don't know.
But so in this, we've got, so I don't know how it connects, but I think Freddy versus Jason might explain how he gets out of hell.
Oh,
It's
okay,
many years
right.
since I've seen that.
Yeah.
We got Camp Crystal Lake, research facility.
Facility.
And then we get Earth 1, which has perished in the distant
fucked.
future. It
Yeah.
seems like it's blighted, I don't know, climate change.
Yep.
The Earth is blasted, it's basically arid. We've relocated we got to the Solaris,
Yeah.
the Grendel,
There is an Earth 2.
and then finally is the Earth 2.
Earth
So
2,
we have
right.
interstellared ourselves.
So Solaris is loads of people.
It's a big-
Grendel's like a ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the students come down with their teacher on this kind of archaeology trip to
Yeah.
Earth 1, and that's where they find Jason.
Right.
And then they get him up, as well as Rowan LaFontaine.
Oh my God, yeah.
They, using future tech,
Yeah.
like this is what Monty Burns wanted.
Yeah.
They heal her.
Yeah.
Awesome, she's great. And then their teacher finds out that Jason could be really valuable on the black market for some reason. Because even in, 2455, he's still mega famous. That guy, without any research, knows who he is.
Yeah, I was really unsure why Jason is valued so high. As in, like, did someone want to shag him?
So this kind of, we're on to Jason here, really.
Yeah.
I don't think this takes place on Friday the 13th.
I don't think days exist. Then
That's
space days.
Future days.
Yeah,
They've
exactly.
invented new days.
Space calendar.
So, right at the beginning, I've got questions about this. Right at the beginning, in the research facility, there's a schism between the scientists. Ones who want to just they can't kill him, and they want to just freeze him as a way until they can figure out how to kill him, or at least freeze him and he can't
Blast
do
him out.
anything.
Yeah.
Other people want to study him like he's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because he has regenerative properties, which obviously would be very beneficial for humankind.
And that's like why Cronenberg has got them in the beginning.
Yeah,
in
because
research
some of them were
facility.
like, no, he's too valuable to
Yeah,
colonize.
exactly.
But in the future, he can't be valuable for that reason, because they seem to have created the technology that allows an arm to be reattached and regrown. And they also bring Rowan back from the dead, essentially, or from life-threatening injuries.
Yeah.
So Jason can't be valuable in the future for that reason. He must be like valuable for the same way as somebody bought Ted Bundy's car.
Right. Yeah, because I was
guess.
thinking, like, is there like a museum where you go and watch him do shit? I don't know. Or they're going to shag him.
Where's that?
They sell him. That, like, it's real black market stuff where it's like you can shag Jason.
But in the
Voorhees.
future, that's okay,
But that's fine.
because morality doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think anyone does really.
Yeah.
Because also we get a few different Jasons. We have obviously we end up with this eventually, but the one at the beginning, he feels, the look is like kind of a bit similar to Jason Goes to Hell, but almost a bit more diseased and swollen and blistered.
Like,
but he's been in hell.
That's true.
I don't know if they're designing that just to make it look interesting, or they've gone, he's been in hell.
Yeah.
Because the thing that kind of throws you in this film is when they're doing the experiments and they're studying him at the beginning.
Yeah.
You have this like zoom out, which is very of its time. It almost feels like Panic Room or Fight Club, where you're inside a syringe and vials and fluids, but it has this hell imagery.
Yeah.
So it's almost like his physiology is hell.
Yeah. It's really weird. Yeah.
Because you have this pullback and it's like fluid, but it starts to feel this fire and
fire.
Like,
it's kind of weird.
Kombat.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. That's really strange. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I actually kind of like both looks.
Yeah.
Like,
fine.
The obviously, like, Uber Jason is insane wild. And it's bonkers. But at that point, I feel like you've just got to go with it. And it's like, it looks so stupid.
It looks like Sir Kill-A-Lot from Robot Wars.
Yeah, it looks so bonkers that you've just kind of got to go, yeah.
Well, it's doing something different, isn't it? You can't false it.
Also, I guess it's only for 15 minutes, isn't it? But like, still, like, it's a swing. So it definitely is a swing, and I like the fact that he can barely move in it. No, yeah,
he essentially turns into a robot. This is
very
big, long way. It's Kane Hodder again. As well.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the scampering Jason in part 3.
Yeah,
running across that like the bridge.
I think like that's just my big gripe with where we are with these movies. Is while I do think it is fun to do something like this, I feel like watching these week by week, like we've been doing. I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored of him running around Camp Crystal Lake.
I feel like 3 minutes.
I feel like we didn't see enough.
Oh, sorry. You're not bored of the previous set?
No, right, like that's the thing. It's like
you're quite happy, just a bit more of the same.
I feel like we didn't see enough of him going back to Camp Crystal Lake and doing more, and
the best bit in this is the holodeck bit.
Yeah,
it's the most interesting part of this film.
But isn't that strange that they've obviously, I think it's obviously a conscious decision by the producers of these movies to go, we need to do something different.
But it's bizarre, isn't it? Because they reset it, but then it is like a bunch of just thin characters shagging.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot in this film.
Yeah.
There's almost an implication in this film that the shagging wakes him up. Because it's intercut with a couple different couples getting it on.
Yes.
And they're about to like consummate it, and he just goes...
Yeah.
Which is a weird suggestion.
Yeah, it's very strange. But that's the thing, is like when we're talking about his motivation as well, that's really odd.
That was just what it's just sex, is it now?
Because he isn't moved by Crystal Lake. He's not like, the motivation to get rid of these kids from Crystal Lake isn't there because he's in Spain.
They're nowhere near it. Although they did go there, they did trespass on it to get him.
I suppose, yeah. That's true.
They did trespass to get him. But he doesn't know that he's been frozen.
Well, that's another thing. If you build your research facility on Crystal Lake, he might be less wound up and he's there, so he doesn't have to keep trying to get back there. But he's going to be wound up because you're trespassing there.
Well, that's the thing that the last couple of films have kind of gone into, is that it's teenagers, which have all been tarred with the same brush as the ones who were responsible for his death. And anyone who trespasses in or around the lake.
Yeah.
I mean, that motivation doesn't exist anymore. Like, it seems the implication more in this one is just killing. It's going almost, because we talked about this on the last episode. This is actually the first Jason post Scream.
Yes.
And the original script
Ages
for this
after.
this was shelved. Well,
right.
So I think development on this, so Scream 96.
Yeah.
I think this was written originally, definitely, it's like 4 years later. So it's a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
After some of those like post-Scream films.
Yeah.
The original script for this, it was written by the guy who was in the video game, Dallas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was meant to be much darker and more like Aliens.
Right.
Hence he called his character Dallas.
Makes more sense.
Who is an alien, not aliens, but you know what I mean. But he wanted like a bunch of Marine sort of feeling. Then, because of the success of Scream, they brought on another writer to like add little like quippy bits, but not really understanding what made Scream Scream.
Yeah.
And I think the holodeck was maybe an addition kind of like that, but it doesn't go, because the two girls are like saying very brazenly what all the characters have done in the old film.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really commit to that idea either.
No, it doesn't. It's a phenomenally strange film.
We always ask, is Jason supernatural? Now, here's like a little bit of a philosophical point, okay? Something is supernatural if it's not understood.
Yeah.
But if there's an attempt to understand it through science, you start to bring it under natural laws.
Yeah.
And in this film, at the beginning, scientists are trying to study and understand why he has regenerative physiology.
Yeah.
So once they achieve an understanding of that, or that process,
that makes him...
you stop it being supernatural.
Yeah.
So you're trying to bring it under understandable laws.
So he could have not been supernatural.
And in the future, his healing property seems to be available.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I thought maybe there was
a paradigm shift.
I thought there was going to be some kind of link back or something that, where it was like, oh, they did manage to actually, well, because he gets frozen. It's like, oh, they did manage to actually learn the healing properties that are in the future from him, and that's why
that would have been good.
And that's why they know who Jason is. That's not why they do.
Because it's ultimately, I guess, in this film, it's actually nanobots are doing it.
Yeah,
nanobots have gone away.
Yeah. It's good as well because I feel
you can't see
nanotech, and I never really understood it in films, and I never really made an effort to, because I was just like, it's basically magic.
Well, what it means, Stark can always have the suit on.
Yeah, and I was like, I think I missed the bit in the Marvel movies where someone explained what it was. And then I was just like, it's magic. It's just
go with it.
I just have to go with it. I don't know what it is.
I think it's one of those things, it actually doesn't matter.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't matter, because I enjoyed those other films and I had no idea what was going on with the
It's a way that something can just happen. And it's what it is.
Yeah.
It has
computers.
It's like the Arthur C. Clarke thing.
Yeah.
It's so sufficiently advanced technology, it's indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah,
so it allows something magical to happen.
Yeah.
But actually, it's little tiny machines.
Yeah.
So it's robots doing it.
It's like the that machine in Star Trek that means that Picard can get a perfect Earl Grey every single time.
You've mastered it.
That's the thing that I think will be good. No money.
Replicator? No.
It's something like that. It might be Replicator. And I think like I think he just presses a button.
It's like 3D printing, but like the ultimate version.
I think they even prints the cup. I think the cup, I don't know what happens to the cup, man. But it feels like I've never seen him do the dishes in Star Trek. To be fair, you would be fuming if you were still doing dishes at that point. Like,
or what would happen in the future? Some people would like to do it as a choice.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
They sell it as an activity. Come down and do some dishes like what they did in the 90s.
Wow, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, they had a Sherlock Holmes episode. Then they have this one where it's like upstairs, downstairs episode. I quite like. That's the thing, is like, by the time Uber Jason does show up, I'm like,
it's part robot now.
Yeah, it's fine.
But we've got full robots in this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not supernatural.
No.
Anymore, I guess.
Let's talk about the victims. So give me a little kill overview, if you can.
This is hard, because I've not killed the double deaths in the computer regeneration, because those are only single deaths. Those are simulated deaths.
Correct.
So we've got 25 kills, right? For sure.
Yeah.
But if we include the Solaris, according to the screenwriter Todd Farmer, we have to add a few onto Jason's kill count. According to him on Twitter, when it was still called Twitter, on the Solaris there was 19,727 people. But are they directly responsible? A lot of people are blowing stuff up in this situation.
Why are you saying now on Twitter?
Can that? He did it as a joke. I think somebody was like, Did Jason kill 20,000 people?
No,
actually 19,727.
That's funny. That's okay. I'm back in. I like it again.
But
that's funny.
Is that all his fault, that one? Because at the end, everyone's blowing shit up. And
yeah, I don't know.
These names. Because like Waylander does the Vasquez thing. Is Vasquez from Aliens? Yeah. With the grenade. He kind of does a similar thing.
Yeah.
I actually really lost the plot of what was being blown up at the end and where they needed to go. Yeah. Because, I have to say his name. Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cinnamon. Cineron.
Yeah.
And the guy who's in love with his own android.
Yes.
At the end, he's explaining what they need to do.
Yeah.
But there's no cutaway or visualization or graphic of what it is. So you're like, have we not just done that?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like, weirdly, there are some good deaths in it, I think.
And, you have to, like we said it, this is Cronenberg's effects team.
Yeah.
So regardless of what you think of the production design, there are some, like, neat bits.
I think my favorite has got to be the Adrienne getting the liquid nitrogen face.
It's quite famous.
That's unbelievable. I think that's really cool. Like, liquid nitrogen is a fun thing to fuck about with in horror movies and stuff.
It used to be around a lot more,
You can make something really gross with it because you obviously smashes it and then you just see like the aftermath of it. It's pretty grim. I like that.
What film is it where it's illustrated by putting roses into it? Or have I just seen that on like TV?
Oh no, I have seen that.
Or am I thinking of Mr. Freeze?
There is like liquid nitrogen rose. Oh, is it not?
Or is that just a demonstration that we've seen on Blue Peter?
It could be actually, yeah.
But
oh no, I think it just is that. I think it's just like a famous people always use it, yeah.
Because then people take a hammer to it.
Yeah.
Watching these films back are kind of little artifacts, little cultural impressions of the time that they were made.
Yeah.
And we said this with Manhattan with toxic waste.
Yeah.
It feels like this, just liquid nitrogen or cryogenically freezing stuff.
Yeah. I quite like Azrael and Dallas in the VR room. I think that's all quite fun. But even though it doesn't make any sense.
Why do they have these names?
No
I
idea.
feel like
Janessa. They were just like, it's Vanessa with a J. I don't know.
And it's like in the future, lots of like really ancient names will come back, like Azrael.
Yeah.
What?
What's the name of the one guy? I mean,
I've got them all written. But then there's also, alongside Azrael, you've got Briggs and Sven. And Gecko.
That's it. Sergeant Brodsky.
There's also just Johnson. Oh, that's present day. Sorry.
Yeah. Sergeant Brodsky. I like him.
That's like Brodsky.
Yeah. Because that's the thing is like this cast, as out of all of the cast that we've done, are probably the one that's done the most. Like a couple of them are in really big shows.
Yeah,
a couple of them are in big like two of them are in this like Hallmark TV movie series.
Wow.
I can't even pronounce the lady, but it's like a crime mystery thing. But it was written by the lady who did True Blood, Charlene Harris. Oh, so it was like her other big thing other than True Blood.
That'll be before True Blood, right?
Yeah. It's called like Mrs. Pettigrew's fucking true crime stories or some shit like that.
Why have they always got these really sweet titles?
I don't know. But that guy who plays Sergeant Brodsky, Peter Mensa.
That's like Gavin Murphy in the Scrumping Vegetable Club.
Yeah, exactly. They are called like the like something like the Cardigan Murderers Club or something like that. It is. That guy who plays Sergeant Brodsky, Peter Mensa, he is in like one of the most, in our time of cinema, one of our like the most famous scenes, I reckon, or maybe gotta be one of the like almost most quoted scenes, because he's the dude that Gerard Butler boots into the hole in 300 and says, well, he's like, this is madness. And he's like, this is madness. This is Sparta, and boots him in. That's the guy who gets fucking booted in.
And he's also the guy that might actually ultimately kill Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not a bad career.
Not bad.
Also, his real name is Peter Mensa.
Yeah.
That feels like like this writer would give that to a professor.
Yeah. There's lots of...
what's sadly, despite it being Cronenberg's FX team, one where I think they could have done more with it, is when at the end, it's an indirect one where Jason punches a hole and creates a vacuum and Janessa gets pulled through it. You kind of don't see the effects.
I thought it was going to be bargain. Yeah. And then it just cuts to like a little like wet bit of thing on it.
Yeah, it's a bit of flesh. And,
it's annoying that, isn't it?
Yeah, because that is what happens to the newborn. Newborns come up again on this in Alien Resurrection.
Right, goes through that.
I think that's what happens to that. And I remember it being really like
grim.
Yeah, you've seen the full thing. You see,
maybe it was cut.
Yeah, or maybe that's well hard to do.
Yeah, because I was the same as you. I was like, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
She's going through that boot first, and it's gonna look disgusting.
Yeah, you think it was gonna like bend, like break
Yeah.
her back and pull her through.
You just get that little sort of like rubbery bit of gore on it, which is pretty grim.
Oh,
but
that's just reminding me. You know what's a good kill? That's similar to that. You know, we were talking about in part 6, the sheriff getting like folded, like like a sleepover bed.
Yeah.
You know, in the 1990 adaptation, Tommy Lee Wallace adaptation of Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
Do you remember in 1950s when Henry Bowers and his crew go into the Barrens?
Yeah.
When you remember one of his like little
cronies
is called Belch.
And he's burping. Yeah.
But Pennywise grabs him and pulls him into a tube, and like he goes in and he gets bent over and gets sucked in from behind.
Ugh.
Is it? Sorry. Ugh. I just watch that every night.
They should do that.
Yeah.
In this.
That's what I thought it was going to look like.
I think maybe Kenneth Condor on the floor screw. I don't know what job that floor screw is doing, by the way.
Oh, Kenneth
Condor. What job is that screw doing? What's it for?
I don't know. It's got a lot of riding on it.
Because he's just, it looks cool afterwards because he's like screwing around and they say like, don't screw around, or they say something like that. So that's, I think the liquid nitrogen is probably my favorite.
They dropped the ball on that.
Closely followed by the floor screw, because that can't have a function on a spaceship. And I don't know what it does.
I mean, it's a very over-designed spaceship.
Yeah. So, but like, I do have one lesson, maybe.
What? I've got a couple.
Because we've seen this come to bite people in the ass twice now. Don't try and box Jason.
Yeah,
Condor tries to do it.
Don't box. Yeah, because like in the last film, a couple of the ones we've said have actually paid off for us. Don't skinny dip is saving our arse time and time again here.
Because that's the thing, is like if we'd had Don't Box Jason from Manhattan, we'd have been fine. Because Condor tries to box him.
I've said this pretty much every week since the first one, is don't have sex. Because in this one, it genuinely feels like that's what
it wakes him up. Yeah, that's true.
Do you reckon a wank would?
Does it count?
Does what you know what I mean?
At what point? What about mutual masturbation if there was two of you in the same room and you were looking at each other? Does that count? Because it's quite sexy.
Jason, what's your cut-off?
Yeah, we're
going to be sharing a cabin with a lot of people.
To be fair, we are going to be sharing a cabin with people as well.
The other one I had, which I think is probably, again, quite easy to do, and we can maybe do it, we don't have to maybe like formalize it, is don't take nanobots.
Yeah. Magic nanobots, that's true. That's a good one. Yeah.
I'm happy, but don't try and punch Jason.
Don't try and punch Jason. Because that's bitten two people.
Okay, let's do that.
In the ass, yeah. Don't screw around.
Don't punch Jason.
Don't screw around.
Just trying to like reduce. Don't punch Jason.
Don't punch Jason.
Also, I've never said this in Manhattan. Why is he hitting the hockey mask?
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
Do body shots, because that's going to just.
Yeah, no, that's very silly.
Anyway.
Survivors?
Well, Rowan, who survived from Earth 1.
Yeah.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Run. And KM14.
KM14.
But is she alive? And then we're going to have a bigger debate about AI now. But is she alive? Is she not? But anyway, she's fixable, it seems.
Yeah.
Because her head is still working.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
When they're carrying her, that bit at the end where it's out on the floor and he's got her head, quite clearly see her body is just out of shot.
Right, yeah.
So, because she's like talking, next shot was just a plastic head.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Because it's like, obviously you're going to do that because you wanted to have her talking.
Yeah.
But when it's on the floor, she's framed just in the corner of shot because she's just like down like that.
It is weird because sometimes it is just a fake head and it's a really crap fake head.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
quite a weird bit as well. With the, it's almost like they reduce the frame rate of him. You know, when Dallas gets killed in the computer game and gets his head severed, and he's like complaining about it. They really reduce the frame rate on his head,
right?
I guess to imply that that's graphics.
Yeah. That looks cool. I like that.
It's kind of weird.
I liked all that.
Almost makes him look like stop frame animation.
Yeah.
Lessons.
Don't lose your head.
Don't lose your head. It's got wide range of significance. I can't believe you said it, but build an android.
Build an android.
Because I will say,
Yeah.
even though this is unfortunate, Uber Jason,
Yeah.
because he accidentally lands in the nanobot room.
Yeah. Nightmare.
Does KM14 not actually do the thing that they couldn't do on Earth?
Yeah.
And does she kill him?
She actually kills him, yeah.
Again, this then ignores a lot of the lore from Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
About only by a voice may he die. But she does seem to really put him out of action.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because we never see him regenerate.
Well, that's
before.
it. Could he regenerate from that, for instance? That's
Yeah,
one of my
whereas-
unanswered questions, is like, would he, if we're given long enough, is his head growing back?
Is he coming back? Yeah, because the regenerative stuff isn't something that they focus on. Because in Jason Goes to Hell, they're like, oh, it's Jason's essence jumping from vessel to vessel, so he doesn't need to regenerate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
well,
so
there he's Hell's assassin.
yeah. Whereas in this one, they've gone, oh no, we're gonna zero in on the regenerative stuff.
We live in a post. I know we did with the originals, but like post new popularity of X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Men the film comes out in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
But the TV shows in the 90s.
Yeah.
People are more aware of that idea of X Factor and like Logan and stuff.
This just feels like that. It feels like the first X-Men done shitly. It feels like all those
watching that.
Feels like all those Resident Evil movies. I feel like all those Resident Evil movies have scenes like this.
You know,
I think I've only ever seen one of them.
You know, like there's something to be said about like, you know, SNES games look good still, but that first foray into 3D with PlayStation and N64 maybe haven't dated as well.
Yeah.
I feel like about art direction in films from this era.
Right, yeah, no.
Just, I don't know whether it'll come back around, and at one point this aesthetic of those films will, you know, like when we were growing up, I think 80s films look weird, whereas now you're kind of like, oh, it's quite cool.
Yeah. Whereas, I don't think this is ever looking, no one's ever looking at this and going, oh, they look badass.
Yeah.
Like,
did they really wear that much PVC?
Whereas like The Thing looks cool.
Yeah.
Now. But then I don't know.
I don't know how cyclical it is, or does
this always
any
look
year
daft?
ago that looks awful.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, when anytime computers and stuff have been used, it's always like that Jurassic Park thing was like, you were so obsessed with what you could make with the computers, you didn't stop and think if you should make it.
Do you think in the future they would have just all this random letters everywhere?
Yeah.
What is that?
Because like, you know, like
It's
when
why Alien hasn't really...
No.
79 Alien, because she goes and talks to mother. It's just lines of code.
It's computer, yeah.
And in a weird way, if you look at like your Notes app or anything like that with Siri, it is as simple as that.
Do you know what I think is like, you know,
Obviously
when...
not on a CRT, but you know what I mean.
Did you ever like take an Oculus, like one of the original, or have you ever like had your mum play VR?
Yeah.
Like because VR looks like shit. Like it still doesn't look great.
Yeah.
It's still like, but I remember taking the original Oculus Rift home, and it was like, you know, that watery,
Put it in a fish tank.
everything looked watery, and it was like crap,
low res,
and it was like incredibly low res. But like, I put my mum on a roller coaster, and like, she thought that was real. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, if someone who can do like CG animation shows a CG animation in the early 2000s to a director who's maybe not au fait with how shit like that is made, are their minds just so blown by it that they're like, that's got to go in a movie. That's got to go in my movie. Like, do they know that it looks shit then? Because I don't know.
It might not... It's that issue, and also it could
I'm not saying it's just old people making my
It could be backing up
man.
onto the issue where it's just like, he might know, he might just have no taste.
Yeah.
Like no eye for it.
I'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's
a lot of bad decisions.
I was
like that,
thinking about
anyways.
this with like the actual clothing. There's obviously been a conversation about what would they wear in the future, because it almost feels like in the future, maybe different ethnicities of clothing being melded together, because it's like influences from maybe different cultures.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's all-
no.
Obviously, a good version of this is June, where
Yeah.
you've got the bagpipes, and you're like, "Whoa, that's a weird relic that's been
Yeah,
taken and
yeah,
kept
yeah.
on." And some of the stuff is kind of Arabic in origin.
Yeah, and you have stuff like that in like Firefly
And
and,
it's all like
stuff.
kind of been fused together and and refined.
We've picked the best bits, yeah.
Whereas this just looks hideous.
Yeah, it's absolutely hideous. It's just garish.
It's very garish is the perfect word. Right, Right. Build an android.
Build an android. Don't lose your head.
Which was making me think of that. I know we talk about it quite a bit. We should actually rewatch that documentary about the person building the sex robot.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, so good.
Which is a kind of what I reckon this lad's done.
Yeah,
because no way is he not.
It feels like he's shagging KM.
You know what's also a painful bit is like this is 2000.
Yeah,
but more people using computers when he goes upload.
Oh yeah,
when he kind of gives her the upgrade.
I've got an upload. Yeah. Fucking hell. Right, we need to come on. We need.
Don't lose your head.
Yeah,
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
These have got out of hand. These.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
Right. Do you want a recap of both? Why didn't you recap of the other one?
Oh, we didn't know.
Okay. So these are don'ts.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't play strip Monopoly or strip variant of any game or pastime. Don't skinny dip. Don't be rude to shopkeepers. Don't leave the bathroom door unlocked. Don't be annoying. Don't get lost. Don't have birthday party paraphernalia on us. Don't throw someone into Camp Crystal Lake. Don't make Jason themed food. But we can eat Jason themed food.
Yeah.
Don't punch Jason.
Don't punch Jason. Good stuff. That's good rules.
Learn how to tie at least 3 knots.
Yep.
Go to a bar for most of the evening. Make an impact. Bound for Camp Crystal Lake. Learn how to do a fireman's lift. Master the occult. Learn telekinesis, or a magical effect that gives the impression of TK ability. Take a horror-themed pen.
Yeah.
Take the Necronomicon, or the Evil Dead Special Edition.
Yeah.
Have you found that?
They don't need to know.
Have you found that?
Yeah, it's mental.
Don't lose your head. Good.
I like how the films get more out of hand. These again out of hand.
The thing is, we can only work with what we're given.
Yeah. True. Very true. Any outstanding questions for Jason X?
One, really. Presumably the Earth didn't die overnight.
Yeah.
Did no one else know about the research facility? Why was he not thawed out sooner? He's been there for 400 odd years.
That's why I...
Because is it like so top secret that everyone who died there are the only people that knew about the facility? That's the only rationale I can come up with.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what about the people that want to study him? We just go, oh, right, we should go through it.
Yeah. Because that's
but then
why...
how did these people in the future know about it?
Yeah, that's
just
true.
accident, I think.
Yeah, because that's why I was generally thinking, how cool would that be? Like I said earlier, like how cool would that be is like the reason they've got all this regenerative shit is based on Jason.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. You're right. Was it just the 5 of them that knew about that station?
And David Cronenberg.
And David Cronenberg, yeah.
And is it just by pure chance and coincidence that this research party, I don't know if they are, but I read something online that they might be, they go to New Harvard University.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a second Harvard in like
Earth
2.
And
they just are on Earth 1 on an archaeology trip. And is it just coincidence that they have landed at Camp Crystal Lake?
I think it is.
Just chance.
Yeah.
Fine, that's fine.
Unless they were looking...
Just like done a scan, it's like, oh, there's a facility here.
Yeah, they've done a scan, and because it feels
there's
like
a lot of metal under here that shouldn't be there.
Power source. There's a power source there because that's keeping him, frozen.
That's true.
So,
that's another question. How that power keep going?
So maybe that's what's drawn them there. I get on board with that.
We kind of touched on it already, but as KM14 actually killed Jason?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, could he have come back from that?
Yeah, I don't know what bullets are in the robot gun.
Yeah, it's good. Good. I think that's that's what I got.
And the ending, like I think it's cute.
It's funny.
It's cute having those.
That he's basically gonna.
It's a cute ending, I think.
Yeah,
having them on a lake. Are they on Camp Crystal Lake? Or
no, it's Earth 2.
Earth
so
2.
Unless it's new camp. I think it could it's just any lake.
Yeah.
And even on Earth 2, 2 teenagers are about to get it on.
And then
lakeside.
They see the mask go in.
So Brodsky intercepts him and they both burn up on impact.
Yeah. Fair play. But the mask cannot be
destroyed. So I think the implication is he has died, but it's ambiguous enough.
Yeah. That's the thing is, if he can regenerate and there's even like a little bit of...
What are the rules?
Little bit of flesh on the mask, does that mean he's coming back?
What are the rules with Wolverine?
I don't know.
Because obviously one of the additional things that makes Wolverine hard to kill is because he had
adamantium in him, yeah.
Oh, let's not get caught up on that.
But I think like, and the same with the Hulk, I think if the Hulk is nothing, the Hulk can regenerate as well.
Can he?
Yeah, the Hulk can regenerate as well. Because there's a comic called like Hulk the End, whereas like the world is gone and the only thing left is cockroaches and the Hulk. And periodically,
I think panels.
Periodically these cockroaches fucking find the Hulk, eat him down to nothing, and then it's incredibly painful, and it's incredibly painful to grow back as well.
Why does he let him do it? Just something to do?
He hasn't got a choice because there's loads of them. They literally
swarming.
There's so many of them. Yeah, it's pretty gross, but it's cool though. But yeah, like I don't know what the rules are.
They definitely make it ambiguous. But would say to date, when this goes out, this is our last appearance of the original timeline Jason.
Right. Okay.
So where he is now in that original timeline, this is where he remains. We don't know what happens to him after this.
Okay.
Obviously, there's hundreds of years where he's on ice. Where they could possibly insert an additional film.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Oh, so Freddy versus Jason happens.
Yeah, so that's how he gets out of hell.
Oh.
Because obviously, I think Freddy's connected to hell. Well, at the end of that film, he's already dries it down.
Yeah. So this is the last time we see that Jason? That's a nice little ending. Jason. I like seeing that.
He's found a new home on another lake.
On Earth 2. Like when Pamela Voorhees was knocking about killing all those teenagers, did we ever think it was going to end on Earth 2?
Actually, good point of this. In that original film, she thinks her son has perished in Camp Crystal Lake.
He done all right.
He's a fucking astronaut.
He did all right for himself.
He's gone to another planet.
Yeah. Jason Voorhees.
She couldn't even comprehend what he's gone on to achieve.
Jason Voorhees lived a life, let me tell you.
Pam could not even fathom.
I know.
To be fair, when Pam was just hanging about, he's living in the woods next door.
Yeah, I know people who've never been to New York. I know people who've never been out of the Welsh Valleys and who've never been to New York. So
he's been into space.
He's been into space. And Manhattan, yeah.
Briefly.
And on a cruise ship.
In Vancouver.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think you would have survived Jason X?
I think I would have lost it in either trying to shag one of the robots or
trying to do your own upload.
Got confused by the holodeck, I think, and perished.
You would have gone to the holodeck and just put in Wales.
Put in Wales, yeah.
Simulation complete.
There you
go. Well, next week, we're actually going back in time.
Wow.
And hopefully maybe figuring out how he gets out of hell and what actually they do with the concept Freddy versus Jason.
The boy, is he dead too?
Ma'am, we didn't find any boy.